Casual Magic has been sponsored by Quiver, maker of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine deck holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their website for 10% off your order. We're also sponsored by Architect, the premier site for hosting your decks on the internet. I love them and they love me, and it seems like a good reason for you to use them. You can also support Casual Magic directly by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/ShivamB. And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam, Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Architect and Quiver and my patrons at patreon.com/ShivamB. I was told to say that much slower because my mother-in-law actually listened to one of my episodes and she was like, wow, you went through the donation link so quickly in the beginning. And I was like, A, thank you for listening. And B, yeah, I guess I do just kind of rush right past that. Whoops. But I'm very excited because I finally have one of the hardest to get members of LRR on my show. The very astutely off all media and social media and like impossible to get except through carrier pigeon and fax, I guess. Paul Saunders, the tech wizard behind LRR and like the dude who's basically run every, I don't know, PPR and literally everything they do there. And you were like one of the two dudes you were like one of the founders of LRR, right?
Yes. Yeah. Graham and I started Loading Ready Run way back in the day.
Yeah. I had James on for your 20th anniversary, which is wild to me that a group of friends doing BS videos on the internet has managed to last for 20 years and become an actual company. So congrats on that.
Kind of amazing to us too.
Yeah. I'm really eager to talk to you because of the fact that you are the most, it's weird to say like the most mysterious one of them because like really you're just kind of chill and always there. But like everybody else has kind of had this social presence and you just show up on streams once in a while and you also just do your work quietly and go home. And I'm like, who is this wizard? So thank you so much for joining me, Paul. I'm really, really excited.
I'm very happy to join you. I haven't been avoiding you or anything.
I've been trying to get you on my show for like 5 years or longer. But sometimes it's just, like it's hard. Like coordinating schedules is difficult. And with ADHD, it means like if it's not immediately in front of me, sometimes I will forget who I've spoken to. Like there are some shows where I'm like embarrassed to say, like I've invited a person to come on my show like 6 or 7 times and they're like, yeah, you invited me and then never followed up and told me when to go or where to go. And I was like, right, that part.
Yeah. I've definitely experienced some of that, that kind of stuff myself. I don't know about the strictly ADHD, but everybody's got a little bit of that, I think.
Yeah, and especially when you are doing something like running a company of streamers, there's always going to be like, oh, I forgot to schedule with somebody and we have a big gap or whatever. So how did you guys start? And folks, there will be some magic because obviously a lot of what LRR does is magic related. So don't worry about it. This is not going to be another Shivam bait and switches you into listening to a magic podcast that's not about magic. Though, surprise. But like, let's talk about LRR though. Cause like, it's like I was just there, like as of recording, this like 2 days after the Aether of PPR, where I got to fly out, hang out with you guys for 5 days, and just have an absolutely delightful time. And like I'm just really, I want to know what it's like to put these things on. But let's go back for a step. Like you and Graham knew each other all like in high school or something, or were you friends before that?
Elementary school.
Elementary school, damn. And you're still friends.
Grade 4-5 split class because Graham's a year younger than me, so that's where we originally met. Was there's a grade 4-5 split class. Half the class was grade 4. So they
put the two grades together. Was it a small school?
It wasn't that small a school actually. It just I guess there were leftovers from both grades or something, and so ended up and then we had various things. I left and went to a different school, but we sort of stayed in touch, and then we got back together, and we started doing started doing Loading Ready Run, we had this idea of that we wanted to maybe go on like a trip and record update videos. This was 2003.
That's like
or 2000,
YouTube.
Yeah, 2002 is pre-YouTube.
So it's like real media.
So we were talking about, and we had made a couple of videos together for the Graham's High School Film Festival. And so we liked making
high
videos.
School film festival?
Yeah. And we liked making videos, and, you know, we liked comedy and stuff. And so we had this idea that we were going to go on a trip and record some stuff. And then we're like, well, if we're going to do that, maybe we should try to like make some videos first to sort of, you know, get the technique and kind of figure out how to actually do it. And so we started making, we started sort of thinking about sketch comedy stuff. So, and, you know, both of us are big fans of, you know, the Monty Python and SCTV and Kids in the Hall and SNL and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, we were coming up with funny ideas. And so we were like, okay, let's, you know, make a website, put it up, and we'll put up videos, and let's see if we can do a video a week.
That's actually, I mean, for 2002, that is insanely impressive. Like that, first off, putting up a website and making videos and uploading them to the internet was not easy. No. That was like very challenging.
Well, yeah, like the first time a video got even like slightly popular, it completely took our website down.
Yeah, because we were hosting for servers.
Yeah, we were hosting our videos ourselves. We were paying for the servers, and we were paying for the video hosting and stuff. And so, yeah, it was. But you know, we sort of went along and we produced, and for we did those weekly sketches for 10 years.
Jesus,
without missing a week.
That's crazy. Did you shift eventually to YouTube, or did you keep trying to host these things yourselves?
No, we shifted. Actually, not first. We shifted to other site. We went with a company called Rever, who you might not have even heard of.
Nope.
They were the first video hosting company that was like, we're going to show ads on your videos, and we're going to give you a cut of the revenue of the ads.
Early internet.
Because YouTube was just like, we're going to show ads on your videos and keep the money. And at the time also, YouTube was really low quality. Like it was like, 240 by 360 or something. Like it was and so we were like, okay, so we went with Rever for a little bit. As with a lot of these companies, Rever blew through its venture capital, stopped paying people. And then we went to a company called Blip.
This is going to be a grand tour of the hollowed halls of dead internet sites.
Yeah. We jumped around a lot. Yeah. We were kind of, in hindsight, of course, we should have jumped on YouTube early.
Yeah, but nobody had any idea which one of these was actually going to succeed.
And that's how it goes, you know.
Yeah, because that was before Google bought YouTube.
Yeah, this was exactly before Google bought YouTube, and then I think actually Blip got bought by like Maker Studio, right? So like Blip got bought by like a YouTube creator. Anyway, we finally ended up on YouTube and producing stuff, but I don't know. I've always considered. In some ways, I don't really consider us to be like YouTubers for whatever that means.
Yeah.
In the sense that we don't spend a lot of time sort of
thinking about it.
Integrated into like YouTube is where we host our videos, and they're very fine at that. But
it's not like you are not like dedicated to producing for the algorithm type of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Certainly not. I mean, that's one thing that has been an interesting process as we've been doing Loading Ready Run, is that what has sort of been a detriment to us, but also it kind of turned out to be maybe not so much a problem, is that we have, you know, it's a lot of it is based on what Graham and I were interested in
For sure.
especially in terms of the comedy and as we've taken on other projects, a very eclectic mix of stuff.
Yeah.
Magic, obviously we do tons of Magic content. We do lots of video game content, but we also do, we did sort of game show stuff.
I remember, I think the oldest video of yours I've watched was like Graham walking down the street, like without a beard for one thing. And he must have been like in his early 20s talking about like politics in the writing or something like that. And it was just like, it was like a vlog more than a comedy.
It was like a rant.
Yeah. And I was just like, wow, baby Graham, what is this?
and so that kept us. I mean, partly that's just sort of for our own interest. Like we get bored otherwise.
Yeah.
But there's the thing. I don't know, the sort of prevailing wisdom or whatever on the thing is you got to sort of do. People like the same thing over and over again, right? If you're a Minecraft streamer, you just gotta, if your
audience will not care, they will not come back if you're playing Balatro suddenly, right?
Yeah, if you're playing or if you want to stream Fortnite, or if you're doing these kind of videos. And so we've always been a very sort of wide ranging thing, which does I think have limit some of our appeal. We don't necessarily get that huge thing.
Yeah.
But the interesting part is that we do get an audience, and we do get, and the people who do sort of stick around and come with us are kind of self-selected as the people who also like all the weird stuff that we like.
Yeah.
And it's this really fun sort of very close knit community.
Yeah.
And it's grown slow, like when you sort of take off and somebody goes from 0 to 1 million views, you don't have very much control over where that community is coming from and how that community develops. And I think it's been helpful for us that in some ways, that because we've grown relatively slowly, we've always been able to curate and integrate new people into the thing. And from a practical standpoint, we've never sort of outgrown our ability to actually sort of make money off the things that we're doing. So, the level of sort of fame and success we've had has been sort of commiserate with the amount that we've been able to monetize, either through doing contracts with other people or through the direct support of our fans.
I mean,
and
that's
stuff.
the thing. You even see when we were doing the end of the PPR, we're doing the sponsor read, you see so many fans that have like 90, 100, 250 months of subscriptions to your site. Like, you've built a loyal following that will stick with you and grows as you're going.
We've talked to, we've been around for long enough that we've talked to many, many different people in the industry, and basically they all get very confused when they see if we show them any of our stats, because the percentage, it's called sort of the engagement or conversion rate or whatever for our videos and our streams, people watching versus people who are supporting us financially or through the Patreon or following the channel or all that stuff is totally out of whack. Like, it doesn't make any sense by all the sort of things that people follow in terms of the industry. And
it's kind of like somebody has been basically subscribed to cable and just stayed that way for 20 years. And it's like, what? You just stuck here and just keep coming back? Because you guys don't have a channel, you have a network.
And it turns out that it's kind of like in some ways, it's sort of the way we like it. Like, we all the decisions we made along the way seemed very logical. We've done everything in the way that made the most sense to us at the time. And it's only sort of in hindsight and in talking to other people when we realize that is not the way other people do it.
Yeah, no, because I remember I've been talking to like various members of you guys, and the answer is like whenever I ask like, so how did this happen? They're like, we don't know, and we can't tell you because this was such a uniquely weird organic experience that trying to replicate it would not work in anybody's favor because you've got 20 years of longevity, which means you've had time to build an audience through different media, through different like channels. Whereas nowadays, if you're starting, you have this fixed set of like this environment of YouTube and Twitch and whatever, and you got a fixed way in. Whereas you guys were able to just kind of build organically and just kind of exist as legacy media, which is kind of wild to say in this modern era. But did you go to university? Because I know some of you guys did, and some of y'all didn't. Are you self-taught in this stuff of like editing and production? How did you fall into the production role?
So I went to college I did a 2-year program at college, program called Information Technology and Applied Systems, which was basically it was
sysadmin
it was sysadmin stuff. And then also I did what was called digital media technology. So that was doing some web development stuff and also a little bit of video stuff. And so I wouldn't say that like I use a lot of the things that I learned in that course these days.
Yeah.
Technology moves so fast, but I feel like it did kind of set me up for, knowing where to go,
right,
to look for the new stuff, knowing what is important and sort of how to think about some of this stuff.
Yeah,
so
like that's the thing.
I think
like
that's
a lot
valuable.
of these, like I've taken like sysadmin type of classes and stuff before as well. And really, it's not necessarily about what you're directly learning as much as how to learn. As in, like the things I found most useful out of that is learning how to speak the language of technology, so that when I need to do something, I know where to look to find it, if not necessarily what to find, but just like how to figure out where the problem might be. And like, because like, I mean, specific solutions don't stay relevant for very long in tech, but at least understanding like, oh, this is probably something related to blah is useful. At least you can at least speak the language enough to know that like you're not just lost when you're looking at a pile of wires.
Yeah. And, the secret, of course, for a lot of tech stuff is, somebody asks a difficult question and you go, interesting. Interesting. That's difficult. Open up Google, start Google,
but you have to know what to Google.
Yeah, you're searching for it, but it's not necessarily that mysterious, I guess. You sort of once you sort of understand that it's something that is out there, you just have to sort of figure out how to interpret it.
Yeah, but like that's one thing for like, oh yeah, we're putting videos on Twitch and YouTube, but you have a studio. You have like lights and sound things and like all these physical cables and like it's literally like a television station. I know you even looted a television station to get more set design recently.
Just
I am so jealous of that podcast table you have. It's so sick. But
it is a very nice table.
But like, I mean, that stuff is hard to just like learn yourself because if you loop wires wrong, the signal will just screw up your sound and TV, and that's like, I don't know. I guess you learned that from experience or accident.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you when you come into our office, there's a sign that says, Moonbase loading ready run Moonbase Mark 6.
Yeah.
It's the first loading ready run Moonbase, what we call the loading ready run orbiting underground Moonbase, which we called it that. As with a lot of things, because it was a funny idea, and the very first podcast we did. It was just Graham and I, and we were like broadcasting to you from the loading ready run orbiting underground Moonbase, and then it just kind of sticks. The first one was it was just like a single room that we were renting in a building. It was less than 200 square feet, I think. So like it was you you keep, and then we went across the hall in that same building to like a little bit bigger area, and then got bigger, and as you move to different places and you sort of get new ability, then your sort of horizons increase, as soon as you go, now instead of one room, now it's going to be like 2 rooms, and we'll have an area for like offices and then an area for production stuff. And then, now we have a room for streaming and a room for, video stuff. And then we go like, it would be really nice if we also had a room for doing like podcasting, so that we don't have to keep messing up our like production streaming setup for podcasting. And so, you keep what seemed like a ridiculously huge amount of space pretty quickly goes like, I wish we had another,
Yeah, even I was like talking to James, I'm like, dude, your new office is gigantic and has so much room. He's like, yeah, I wish it was bigger. And I'm like, buddy, you just got here.
If there's some way we could make it bigger without having to move again, because moving is the part that's nasty.
Yeah, dude, you have so much stuff. You have so much costumes, and like, because like the Loading Ready Run enterprise of just like not just like playing Magic on like the PPR, but also doing sketches, doing Loading Rive, doing board games, doing all this. It just takes up so much room.
And we like the costumes and props and stuff. We've had to become like pretty diligent about, and pretty like, we got to get rid of the stuff that we're not using. If we let it go, we could have three or 4 times worth more costumes and stuff. For a while we had a show called Feed Dump. And the sign off on the show again it was just a funny idea for the first episode. Was that it was the idea of Feed Dump. The idea was that they were just talking about silly news stories.
Yeah.
And so the sign off was, there may be better sources for news, but they don't have this hat. And then they would put on a silly hat. And because, we had a lot of silly hats because we're doing sketch comedy. But because of that, people started sending us hats.
Oh no.
And it was great. We got tons and tons of hats in, but then it got, we had to start culling the hat. The hat boxes started getting very, very full. And we got more and more hats, things. And we go, okay, we got to get rid of some of these hats. We got to figure out which of the hats that we actually want to keep and which of the hats.
Yeah, dude, I want the mail time ones, and like, it's just, you guys get so many boxes of things from people. It is ridiculous.
People are very, very generous, and sometimes we don't know why they sent us things.
Or maybe it was a funny joke 14 months ago when they saw it on stream, and it finally got to you from outer Mongolia, and you're like, what do I do with a pile of hay? And it's like, well,
I mean, some of the best stuff actually that people said, like, I find quite neat is people will sometimes send us just like postcards, and they'll be like, telling us about a cool trip that they had or something. Yeah, which it's really neat that people want to sort of share that.
Yeah, it's charming and small, which works out really well.
Exactly. Yeah, easy to fit in a filing cabinet.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, like, it feels like you guys kind of fit into like natural roles, because like, Graham is very much a face type of character and get on camera and stuff. But like, why did you settle down into the tech role mainly? Because like, isn't that your role kind of at Loading Ray Run, being basically the head producer or whatever it is? Yeah,
I mean that's sort of that's definitely how things have shaken out. That's something that's happened, especially as we've transitioned. We transitioned from doing the sort of sketches and stuff into the more doing the streaming and things. And it's I find the sort of facilitating of the being able to of the streams to be a very rewarding thing. I the figuring out how to sort of present something, or if the if the people who are doing the stream, if the performers want to do something, and it's like, that's a great idea, and then sort of working with them to come up with how we can actually make that happen, or what that would look like in the stream, or if we're doing a pre-recorded bit, how to do that as a pre-recorded thing. Yeah.
I mean, I love when you do like the little just add-ons and flair for the PPRs. Like this time around, Aether Drift, you created a whole little UI image of when we're going up in speed of the dan, and I was like, that's so cool. I mean, it felt a little weird that like sometimes the speed up would be like, 10 minutes between or whatever, but it was still, because like individual beep was just funny. I laughed every time. It was just like beep, and then you get to 4, it's like, and that was awesome. But I thought that was really, really fun.
And it's
like Night and Day and all the
particularly,
other ones.
Particularly for the PPRs, I always am looking, when the new set comes out, and I'm always looking at the new mechanics and seeing if there's some way that we can make it sort of fun and interesting. I'm always very disappointed in how the mechanics end up showing up in Arena. I was like, oh, they're gonna have like there's Night and Day, and like Arena is a full 3D app, like the background and everything is all 3D, and there's lighting effects and stuff. And I was like, oh man, they could do like a night and day thing where like the sun moves, and it could be super fun. But nope.
It was just a card flips on the side, and you're like, "That's stupid."
Yeah, and I'm sure I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure speed will just be like a digital version of the token. That
it's just going to be like a number on the corner, and you're going to be like, "That's that, I guess." But I mean, I'm sure there's reasons, but like you have the technology, make it cool. I mean, you know what I think the problem is that they had decay. The zombie decays where the zombie would show up, attack, and just vaporize.
Right.
And we had so many zombies decaying in that format that your screen was just always like, and making that stupid sound effect all the time. And I'm sure someone was just like, we need to stop doing that.
And I mean, maybe like the like speed thing going like do 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 vroom. Maybe like that's fun for the PPR. Maybe after it's happened 500 times, if
maybe
you're
after
grinding
your
out
60th draft, you're just like, okay, stop.
Maybe you don't want to have that, and I understand that. So maybe they know what they're doing more than I do. But
I still think there's room for more than the bare minimum, though. Come on. But yeah, like. It's always like amusing to me when I do see you on streams and stuff, because it's so rare these days. Like you used to do a lot more, but nowadays, like you will show up once in a while and just be like, "I'm playing a game and we're just gonna play an RPG and I'm streaming it." But it feels like you do way less than you used to do, and I think that's probably just because you enjoy doing production stuff more.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy doing the production stuff more, and it's something that not everybody can do. So it's a role that I feel like I can be very productive in.
Many people can control the cameras, but it's very hard to have somebody controlling that board.
And to be fair to other people, part of it is that a lot of as I have worked in the sort of tech and setup and the production setup, I've sort of customized it to me.
Yeah.
And I've built little shortcuts and little sort of widgets and assistance things for myself and things to make it that make sense to me. And so sometimes like it's not people's fault that it is more difficult for them to do it. Like sometimes it just is like going to, and I like to bring people on and explain people, and of course, and James and Ben in particular do a lot of the recording and stuff as well, or we'll jump in during long streams like the PPR or whatever. But when I am explaining, I go like, oh, here's what you do for this. I'm sometimes like, oh yeah. It's like, all you do is just push this button and it'll work. It'll probably work. Sometimes if it doesn't work, then you have to do this other thing, and then you should go.
Well, I mean, because it's like going into a recording studio where there's been a music producer there for like 30 years. Yeah, he's built the entire layout and all of the machines and stuff for the fact that this guy basically lives in this room for the past decades. So anybody walking in, it's going to be like just trying to decipher cuneiform because you don't know, like this switch here does this thing because that's within the reach of this man's hand, not because of any specific like reason for that. And and trying to like, because I've worked in tech and stuff long enough to know that when there's one person doing one job for a very long time and it becomes so bespoke and like just so like very integrated into their specific understanding of the product, that like when they have to teach someone else or write documentation, it is just futility. You're like, why does this work this way?
And it's something that I struggle with because like I want to.
Yeah, because it's important to have redundancy. What if you're sick?
Exactly. I want to bring people on, and I want to, share this stuff with people, and I want other people to be able to do things and to, come up with different, better ways of doing things than I can.
Right.
Or they come up with something that they want to do, and then I can help them do that or whatever. So it's something that I struggle with, but it's something that. It's something that sort of Loading Ready Run as a company, I think, is something that we are working on trying to do better at, is the sort of making sure that knowledge is disseminated as much as possible. It's always difficult that, everybody that, all the editing, it's like all the editing stuff used to have to go through Graham. Because he was he knew how to do, he is the editor, but then he can't be doing all the editing now. We've got too much stuff going on, so we start bringing on other people, but then he has to sort of get people so that they have the same mentality as he does, and so that's a whole process.
Yeah, and like, when you guys have been around for so long and you've got a fixed language and a fixed style for the in-house, like you can tell an LRR video even without hearing the little intro jingle, just because there's a way you guys do these things.
See, that's interesting to me, that because like I sometimes see other people's videos and I'll be like, that's something that feels like something we would do.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me that other people see that in our stuff.
Well, yeah, because there's a definite like tonal language that you use and a different stylistic vibe to your channel that like it just, you can tell. Like if you like, for instance, I just had there was a time during pandemic where I sat and watched like 48. Like I watched like 48 hours of the like the tiny little shorts that you guys do, just in a row for God knows what reason, and let me tell you, sometimes it's funnier that the start and the outro bumpers are longer than the sketch in the middle. But it's just like, after you watch 100,000 of these, you understand what the language of LRR is like, kind of just like the way you choose to light things or whatever. It's there is a language. And also, I don't really recommend trying to mainline a lot of that in a row. Did you have any part in the road trip?
The Road Quest?
Yeah, Road Quest.
I was involved a little bit in the sort of planning and some of the sort of administration stuff back. So sort of while they were, I didn't go on the road trip, but
I didn't either.
while they were going, Graham would be like sending back pictures and things and updates, and then I would be posting them to, we had like a sort of supporter only Discord that we were posting stuff to and that kind of thing. But that was, Graham was really the planner
driver
of that whole thing. except for the driving. He did all the driving.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's still probably some of my favorite content that LRR has done.
It turned out really, really well. We're so happy with how pretty. Yeah.
And it was just so funny. I think putting Adam and Beej in a car together might be the funniest thing you guys have ever done.
That was a neat, like, just, yeah. I personally, I find that fascinating, as a viewer, I guess. But also, you know, not even in our stuff, but in other stuff as well, the idea of sort of putting two people who you really like, and who have very, you know, who you sort of feel like you know their personalities pretty well, but putting them together when they haven't necessarily spent a lot of time together. I mean, that happens sometimes. Even like we'll do like a stream, you know, like and it can be really fun, like to do like a live a stream of a particular video game with someone that you've never streamed. Like you've you know, we've hung out and we've played games and we've done all these things, but you
haven't done a professional thing.
That thing where you're like sitting in a room with somebody for a couple hours and joking with each other and having fun, is a kind of a different experience. And it's like, oh, you know, this person has like a little bit of a different perspective than I do, and
finding where the chemistry is really fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So since you've been here for like 20 something years, since literally day zero of Loading Ready Run or whatever, what have you, like, the cast and the crew has grown significantly since, like, it was two of you, and then, like, I don't know, who was number three, like James or something, or like, no, there were even other people who just aren't even part of LRR anymore were there.
There are, yes. People have come and gone. I mean, James is definitely, I think will be the sort of third most longest running person. Yeah, I mean, we I don't know if he probably was talking about it in the thing, but for our 20th anniversary, we did a 20th anniversary podcast.
Yeah,
where we had
4 or 5 of these, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, we ended actually, it was 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
With sort of each episode encompassing 2 years.
Yeah.
But then we would also interviewed some of the people, you know, sort of every episode was sort of half Graham and I talking about it and half interviewing people who
used to be part of that or were part of that.
Yeah, we're either are talking about when they joined, and then but also talking to some of the people who joined and then left for various reasons. But yeah, I mean, all of whom are still our friends. But
yeah, well, presumably, hopefully, I mean, that's one of the things I think that just, like, whenever we go to the PPR, I always talk to like the guests and stuff when we come back, and everybody's like, God, I wish I just had a close, tight-knit group of people that I like to hang out with that I also worked with. I'm like, yeah, well, we also all wish we were in Valhalla, but we don't get that chance. And it's like, it's not like there isn't conflict, because I've definitely seen sometimes some staff members are a little bit more fastidious than others, or just like up in each other's business, or definitely like, I mean, like, it happens, right? Like any group of people that are hanging out, you're not always going to be friends. Like when you talk to like famous bands that have been working together, or even like Penn and Teller type people, they're like, yeah, no, we don't hang out socially. We hang out so much at work, and not even hang out. We're working.
Yeah.
Like we go home. I don't want to see these people. We're living our own lives. But it's so weird, because like streaming feels like just something casual and fun and like collegial, but you guys are still employees, and like you still have to deal with the fact that this person and this person aren't going to work well together. But what has been like how has that growth been for you? Like, it must be weird to see you guys going from two dudes in the back of a room to like
yeah, it's like to be honest, I never really wanted to.
Yeah, like, was this what you intended your career to be?
Yeah, like I never wanted to own a company and start a company.
Right.
But it just, that's sort of how it progressed. And, you know, from starting out with just Graham and I, and then it was sort of Graham and I and our sort of immediate friends. And then as we sort of expanded and started bringing on more people, and then of course, because of course for the first very long time there was no money.
Yeah.
Like it was all, everyone was just, we were just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
And then, once money starts coming in, that changes the dynamic. And now it becomes, we just go, okay, now it's a little bit different. Now we have to make sure things, and, there were tensions around that.
Always.
we had issues with, working for places that didn't pay us, and then we have to deal with that. And and so it was definitely a process. And of course, Graham and I are both kind of creative types, so neither of us are very good at the actual like business stuff,
right?
And so it was definitely a painful process of just
the bookkeeping means,
the basic bookkeeping and registering for all the standard
tax
stuff you have to do for business and things.
Yeah.
And then we as we were able to realize that the money was coming in such that we could bring in more people full time, we were able to do that and sort of slowly expand from sort of a couple people full time, and then most people were sort of contractors that we would just have. We would be just have them for a couple hours a week, and then it would sort of on an hourly basis, and then that hourly basis starts becoming higher and higher and higher, and then we're like, well, you're basically working for us full time, so come on to salary, and that's that's a complicated process, and you do when things sort of butt up between us all sort of hanging out and having fun to Graham and I are the people who own the company, and Beige is is sort of the business manager, and there are certain things about the company that we have to handle, and we have to sort of have the final say on.
Yeah.
And that can be a little bit difficult sometimes.
Like, yeah, because I remember I was just talking to Graham offline vaguely. I'm like, it must be weird to sit down and have to talk to, I don't know, someone in this office who's maybe slacking or not doing a thing you need them to do or whatever it is, some business reason, and then have to be like, go from we're pals to, hey, I need you to actually do the thing that we're paying you to do, or whatever it is, or maybe don't get into a fight with this other person for what, or stop picking on this other person type of thing, and like, there must be a weird transitory moment of that, right?
Yeah, we've been lucky in that our maybe it's the maybe it's the Canadian sensibility or whatever, but we do tend to get along pretty well. But it's definitely, there have been times when we've had to make decisions in terms of going ahead with projects or not going ahead with projects,
right.
or being like, sorry, we can't bring people, sorry, we know we really like what you're doing and we wish we could bring you on full time, but we just can't. Like, we just, the money's not there.
You live in California and it's hard to pay for you to fly up here all the time. I get it, dude. You don't have to say you're not going to hire me. I quit.
It's a trick. I mean, that whole thing, like, it's funny, like being just even strictly like being in Victoria.
Yeah. Dude, getting to you guys is such a pain. It is so difficult to get on and off that damn island.
And getting, as you can imagine, getting to us is a pain. And us getting anywhere else is also a pain.
It's such a pain.
But on the other hand, I think that also, I think that also influences sort of our style, for better or for worse. And if we were,
are you from Victoria originally?
I am, yeah. Born and raised, and both my parents as well, I think.
Did you
Or at
ever,
least-
when you went to uni there too? Or
I
like
went
college
I went up island to Nanaimo.
Ooh, up island. But you were still like on that island.
It's still on the island. It's about like an hour and a half up island. But yeah, still very much on the island. And I mean, there's a lot of the folks in Loading Ready Run are not from Victoria.
Yeah, because of university town, they fly in and then just never leave.
Yeah. But yeah, Graham and I were both born and raised here. And I think there is a different, like, even in Vancouver, but especially, down in, if you're in LA or in New York or something, there's a whole it's a different vibe. And
a little bit.
And it it probably would have changed our whole, because of course the interesting thing about being on the internet is that we can be doing our stuff in Victoria, and we can have people enjoying our content all over the world.
I think about for the fact that like Canlander went from something that is one store in Victoria to now being like played all over the world because you guys just keep putting Canlander things on.
Yeah, it's fun, and I meet people. At one time, I was just walking down the street here in Victoria, and a guy was sort of walking the other way and sort of started looking at me in the way that it's like, oh, do I recognize him? And he was just in town because his brother was going to UVic and was graduating, and so he had come to his graduation, and he was from Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
and he was a big fan of our stuff, and he was talking about the difficulties of wanting to do kind of similar, making sort of sketch comedy stuff, and that filming on the street was possibly not a great idea in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not even a great idea politically, it's still 50 degrees Celsius out there. Like, you're going to go on the street and die.
and so, but it was just neat talking to him for a bit, and the idea that sort of our content had been was being enjoyed by people just all over the place,
other side of the world.
Weirdly large. We've got like big audiences in like Australia and in the UK, and Switzerland for there's like a weirdly large group of like a weird sort of unusually large spike. It's neat that our stuff is able to be checked out everywhere from this little place, in Victoria. Dude, I feel bad sometimes that, like, because Victoria has a pretty vibrant art scene, and there's various, UVic has a really strong video arts program that Graham attended for a little bit, but then he ended up not completing it. But I feel kind of bad that we're not actually like that integrated into the Victoria art scene, because we're sort of doing stuff online,
so globally focused.
And so, we've occasionally done things with like Victoria film festivals and stuff, but not very often. It just, it feels kind of strange that we're not doing stuff locally, but it just often sort of doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, oh God, there's like 3 questions that came out of that I want to ask. Like, you're right. One of the weird things, like I noticed when I went to Amsterdam for the first time and I was in Europe, and I'm meeting all the European fans, and people are coming from like, yo, I'm in a village in the deep south of France, or I'm in Estonia listening to your show. I'm like, Estonia? Do they play Magic in Estonia? And it's just like, wow, that's wild. But you and Graham have worked together for so long now. Do you guys does it still, I mean, obviously it still works for you, otherwise you wouldn't be there, but like, has your relationship changed in the way, like, now that you're having this kind of like company to run together? Yeah,
I mean, it definitely has. I think our relationship definitely has changed, but I think it's sort of fundamentally the same. We still will sit around and
like, do you guys have meetings for like the business part of LRR or something?
We do have meetings, and we have to talk about and we have to talk about some, and sometimes it's can get a little heated in terms of
talking about don't need to buy another 4K camera. Stop
talking about projects and talking about expenditures and stuff. But also, there's still where I'll come in and have a silly idea that I want to tell some. Like, I think that's like one of the inherent things with Loading Ready Run, and I think probably a lot of people have this especially if you're into sort of comedy and stuff, is that like if it wasn't for Loading Ready Run, I feel like I would have all these sort of have these like funny ideas or these ideas that make me laugh that I wouldn't have anybody to tell, right? And so,
like, what would you be doing if you hadn't done this? You've done this for so long. Like, is there even like is that even a question that can be asked?
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's the whole sort of bird flaps its wings or whatever. Yeah, butterfly flaps its wings. Who knows how things could have gone? I mean, I was a web developer for a long time. While Loading Ready Run was not
a real thing,
not something that paid the bills, I was a self-employed web developer for a long time.
Self-employed web developer. Around here in the Bay Area, we call that unemployed.
I mean, I was relatively successful at it. Good. I sustained myself doing that, and those skills have since, of course, been useful in other things. But yeah, I mean, I know, like, self-employed is
just because I live in Silicon Valley, so like being a self-employed web developer is what you call the person in the coffee shop. It's like just
right, yeah. I mean, it's weird to call. I mean, technically, I guess I'm still self-employed, but
you have a company. You have a company, man. Like,
run a company that employs me.
Like you pay taxes. That counts. But like having someone like Beej around to actually do the numbers must be very helpful.
He has been very useful and very 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 instrumental for doing a lot of taking a lot of that stuff that Graham and I
offloading the stuff you don't want to do.
Yeah, Graham and I both don't want to do and really are bad at. I know I think he would probably say that he sometimes doesn't like doing it either.
No, who does?
but he's definitely way better at it than we are.
No, because I've definitely seen you guys. Like, I'm lucky that I have enough of a real relationship with you guys. I've been and hung out in various places and experiences with the Loading Ready Run crew, and I've definitely seen Beej be like, "We are running out of this sleeve. Please stop hawking this sleeve." Or like, "Guys, I need you to sell the t-shirts. Come on." Or, like when he's setting up the booth at like a MagicCon or whatever. And it's really funny because like sometimes me and him will talk about comedy and sometimes it'll be like very business heavy. But
I mean that's the great dichotomy, right? Yeah. Right. Is that Beej is wonderful and can be very very directed and businesslike, but he's also probably one of the goofier performers for Loading Ready Run
as hell, man.
In front of the camera, which is a wonderful the mystery that is Beej Deary.
I think it's super cool that you guys have like so many. It's weird because like the company splits kind of evenly between these are a bunch of gamers who do streams, and this is like a sketch comedy troupe that has just happened to land in LRR. But yeah, so like we should actually talk a smidge about Magic because I did promise that to the audience here. Over the years, like it's weird, LRR's focus has shifted from just doing sketch comedy to being much more like, I guess, Magic driven, and not to everybody's like taste, because some people are just like, I want to do jokes and like Quirp line and stuff. But has it been like because you've had to obviously change the way you do setups and stuff. You had to create the concept of the PPR or do like the Friday night drafts where like one of my favorite things is that to get the perspective right when you have 8 people around that table, you built a trapezoidal table that goes out this way so that like the perspective looks right, but then you have to have a little train passing the car back and forth. That must have been a fun challenge to solve.
The train, the little having the little skate back and forth for the packs was not the plan. We didn't really realize how far apart the people at the end of the table would be. To be honest, the table being sort of a trapezoid shape wasn't like necessarily a perspective thing. It was just so that it was like, oh, so we can make sure everybody, like you can see everybody. People aren't going to be blocking people. But then, yeah, when on camera, it looks like it's sort of a forced perspective, like the table is way longer than it actually is.
Yeah, it's really funny though, until you see that little train go by, and it's like, what the hell?
But we do so many, we do so many different sort of games and board games and card games and things we stream. It's kind of fun with Magic because we do a lot of Magic. That gives us the opportunity, and especially for me, it gives me the opportunity to spend a lot of effort on the presentation of that. That if we're only going to be playing a game, once or twice on stream, I can't really rationalize spending a bunch of time designing a whole new overlay or all the stuff for it. But for Magic and for like the PPR or all these different things, I know we're going to be doing a lot of it. And so it's fun to, we're able to present. I like that we can present it in the sort of best way possible.
Like you used to play, you still probably play Magic too, don't you? But like more for fun and less for this stuff.
Yeah, I used to play a fair amount. I played Magic like back in high school, or elementary school, I guess.
Oh, jeez. I keep forgetting you guys are so much younger than me. Not that much.
I had revised cards and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like you're not that much younger than me, but like maybe 2-3 years or something. So.
But then I sort of stopped, and then we started again. And so I used to play Magic more than I do now, to be honest. It's like it's weird because I'm still very interested in Magic, and I like to sort of see it being played, and I'm very interested in like the rules and all this stuff, but
getting around to actually playing it, it's like
I found I found like there's a line we did in one of our early like Friday nights videos where I go, I found out that I'm both a sore winner and a sore loser. And to be honest, it's sort of like I find for me personally, I tend to like I sort of feel bad if I'm if I'm getting like really creamed by the opponent. Obviously that doesn't feel good. And I find that I also don't feel that good if I'm like totally wrecking the other guy either too. And
that
so
doesn't make for a good combination, man.
And I found that like the number of games that are sort of in that sort of Goldilocks perfect spot where we're both feeling really good, didn't happen as much as I would like. So I quite like, I like sort of the like zero stakes, like pack wars.
Yeah.
Or the sort of really sort of, or like silly formats or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of get into that.
And things. Battle Bond.
Yeah. Those things are kind of fun. But yeah, the sort of straight up Magic, I don't play that much, especially done on, of course, playing playing Magic on camera and playing Magic for fun is a whole different experience.
That's the thing. It's like I will sit and jam random games of Arena periodically to just scratch the itch because Arena feels depersonalized enough that I don't kind of mind smashing the other guy because I'm like, whatever. They're not a real person. But that's why I've found that I play a lot more Chandelar than anything, because Chandelar is just clearly kicking the crap out of a 1990s era computer PC AI opponent who does not have any idea what's happening. And I can just do something like cast 17 time twisters against him and not feel bad.
I used to really dig the Duels of the Planeswalkers
exactly.
game for console. I played a ton
AI
of
to
that.
beat up, man.
Yeah. Of course, the AI in that one, there's the like final boss in that was this. Yeah. It was this Karn. It was a Karn deck that was blatantly cheating. Like
it had Moxes in it.
It was playing 4 of Moxes.
Yeah, and I was what the hell?
It was like that's not legal in any format.
Like I played at the dawn of goddamn time, and even then it wasn't legal to play 4 Moxes.
And it would you just be like, and because it was Duels of Planeswalkers, you had a limited card set, right?
Yeah.
So you'd be playing out, your land, and then you go like land, Mox, Soul Ring, tinker the Mox into a Worm Coil Engine.
And you're like, I put out an 04 wall. I guess. What do you want from me? No, not even a wall. It was like the stupid Kraken Hatchling. Because I used to play the deck. It was like just a 1 mana 04 that sits there. And I'm like,
yeah. Except it didn't have defender, so every turn you had to tell it not to. You'd be like, "Don't attack."
No, don't attack. It's okay. You could just survive. What the hell are you doing here? Yeah, dude. I played a lot of Duels of the Planeswalkers.
I think there's a market for Duels of the Planeswalkers.
Dude, just give me a single player Magic game where I can sit and kick the crap out of an opponent and not feel bad about it, and then it'll be fine. It'll be great. The system is robust enough to handle it. But I think it's just like we could also just make more money and sell booster packs to people. And I'm like, money, I guess. Anyways, but really though, it's been delightful to talk to you, Paul, because I feel like this is the most we've gotten to hang out, even though I've like run into you so many times at like events or like your studio. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on and joining me today.
It's my pleasure. Yeah. It's nice to talk to you. And I feel like whenever, for PPRs and stuff, it's always sort of in passing or while we're going off and doing something else.
You're in the production booth and you are busy. Like I remember, like I just looked at you, because at the PPR when they were doing the intro, and I walked out and I looked at you, and I was trying to gesture. I'm like, I'm stuck here in the dark part while they're talking, and then like eventually they stop and they cut to some video, and I walk outside, and you pop out of your office and you're like, what do you need? And I'm like, I was trying to find a way out of the door.
I was like, is he saying something bad? Is something going on?
Is there sound? It's like, no. I just need to leave. Like, I'm stuck. Can you help me? I am in the void. I don't know. Your new office rules, though. It's super cool. And I hope I get to come back and hang out a lot more. Also, thank you for letting me have a camera for a few minutes in the PPR. I really appreciate that.
That was a really good and neat little sort of statement that you had there.
Yeah, like I had thought about what I wanted to say or something, and then in the moment I just kind of fumbled it and went with whatever came to my mind, which is the patent achievement method. But it's more like the fact that I just asked you without telling you what I was doing, and you were just like, "Sure, here, have a camera." And it's like that's a lot of trust for me, which I guess we're friends, so you can get away with it. But like, I don't know, I would have been a little bit like, what are you going to do on my sponsored by somebody else stream that you need a camera for?
I mean, now that you mention it, in hindsight, we probably should have done it. But and I mean, I think it really resonated with the audience.
The audience appreciate it, I think. But times are weird. But anyways, man, it was delightful, and I'm so glad to be able to come back and hang out. And I hope I get to come back to Victoria and just chill again, because man, it is fun to hang out up there. But with that, this is where I would normally ask you to drop your socials, Paul. But you are notoriously hard to get a hold of. So,
I mean, if you want to see anything that I'm working on, twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun or loadingreadyrun.com. It's,
You do have a stream, you do, right?
I do. I mean, what we do, the streams that I'm most consistently on is Chill Point, which is where we talk about video game. It's sort of a more we do Checkpoint, which is the pre-recorded news show, and then we do Chill Point the day afterwards, where we have a more sort of casual talk about the video game news.
Do you have any part in the Loading Ready Live stuff?
Again, I run all the tech stuff for Loading Ready Live. And I'm sometimes on segments as well. Yeah, but I'm Loading Ready Live is a very sort of collaborative thing of everybody coming together and coming up with different ideas and things.
Yeah, and generally you're also like the voice of God that just pops up in chat or through like the microphone, like whatever.
Yeah, from near and far, young and old, people of every shape, ability, and gender, welcome to Loading Ready Live.
Good times. But yeah, and as always, folks, you could find me at shivamput.bluesky. I basically cut off Twitter now. You can also find the show everywhere podcasts are sold, or at YouTube every Tuesday, thanks to my editor, Dan. You can also hear me on Shivam Wheeler, Love Magic, and on the Chronicles of Dragonlance, and on whatever unnamed podcast I end up coming up with soon. But with that, my friends, remember, it's not magic without the gathering, and we'll see you next time.